Hello, Dad. You'll hear this message too, but this is for our family archive. Some memories with you. Dad is a man with a huge heart and adventuresome spirit. I love you, Dad, and we have talked many times of many special memories during these last days lately, many more than can be written here. What a gift to be able to travel with you these last few years and continue to observe how you treat and care for others, look for beauty, face difficulty, and how you always try to do what is right. Wherever you go, you make your surroundings better and brighter. Thank you for the lessons you have taught me of optimism, attitude, perseverance, gratitude, service before self, and kindness. You have given the Lord credit for his work and shown us how to walk the path with him on a path of gratitude. By small and simple means are great things brought to pass, you say to us, just as Alma said to his son Helaman in the Book of Mormon, when he asked him to keep good records. Happy 100 years, dear Father. Dad, at 100 years young, you have outlived many of your loved ones. In fact, all your grandparents passed to the other side before you were even born, except for Isaac Asa Spencer, your mother's father, and he passed when you were just 21 years old. In your own immediate family of 3 children, your older brother, whom you loved and admired so dearly, died when you were just 14, and then your sister when you were a young 54 years old. Your father was gone before you turned 30 years old, your mother when you were just 46 years old. Your beloved wife Alta passed 21 years ago when you were a mere 79 years old. Is this how your heart grew to be so big and compassionate, having experienced so much loss? Your parents were so good to you, and you have honored them all of your life. I love to hear you talk about them, and it is always with love and admiration. In Alma 63, verse 2, he talks about Shiblon, who was his son, and he says, he was a just man and did walk uprightly before God, and he did observe to do good continually, to keep the commandments of the Lord his God, and also did his brother. I think you're a lot like him. You are skilled and talented in many ways. You're a pilot, an adventurer, a rocket scientist, a fisherman, a horseman, a cowboy, a skier, a farmer, a photographer, an engineer, a poem writer, administrator, and leadership. Skills are in abundance with you. You're a marvelous husband, father, grandfather, foreign language learner, and missionary. We always thought you could do anything, and you made us feel safe and secure. You have many spiritual gifts as well. You are gifted with an optimistic and adventuresome spirit and a big and loving heart. You have the spiritual gift of seeing, experiencing, and sharing the natural beauty of this world. You see the good in others and in the world around you. There are no obstacles for you. These become adventures, and finding a better way when things don't go as planned is wonderful to you. You can see to the heart of a problem with people and machines. You are a problem solver. You are true and faithful to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I will share just a few memories, but there are so many more. When Brad, Marilyn, and I were little, we piled into bed on Saturday mornings next to Dad and listened to bear stories. The bears and us experienced the most hair-raising adventures, and we all just barely escaped with our lives. Trips we took while growing up were a way of life. Wherever we lived, Dad and Mom created wonderful trips for us, all at budget cost because they were so smart. You taught us to love pine forests and mountain lakes. And the sound of walking on crunchy pine needles and exploring a campground. We camped, hiked, fished, and smelled that good air which you made sure we were observant of. At Crater Lake, you didn't get mad when I dropped the string of fish off the edge of the yellow raft as we watched it drop down, down, down. You liked to string the fish out on a line between the 2 kids holding each end and get the rest of us to line up beside that display. You took Brad and I on a horseback trip to Fremont Lake in Nevada just before we all moved to Germany in 1962. That was a highlight of my life, especially for a girl in love with horses. We always liked hearing you sing O Shenandoah as loud as possible and, of course, out of tune, whether on a ski lift or a mountain trail. The best part of each trip, though, was when we knelt together in family prayer. We all felt such a joy and love and security. Sometimes Dad took us to a park with several neighborhood kids to play football. He organized the teams, let everyone have a turn, especially the youngest child, and we drew plans in the dirt or just in our palms to decide who would go out for a pass and where we would go. He said, "Run like a deer to the far corner and I will throw you a pass." "Oh, you can run like the wind," he said. When living in Virginia, you planned a canoe trip for us down the Shenandoah River. We had our umbrellas ready and tied the boats together and sang your song, loudly and often. Trips continued in Germany from 1962 to 65 and 1970 to 74 when we lived there. Mom and Dad mapped out our trips and adventures while we lived there, and we traveled to every country possible. We all benefited from Dad's Wanderlust. Norwegian fjords, Italian bulky knit sweaters, French fries and lace in Brussels, wooden shoes and cheese in Holland, bullfights in Spain, Acropolis and Aegina in Greece, taking the ferry in Denmark, skiing the Alps in Switzerland, seeing the Eiffel Tower in Paris with the Jensens, walking by canals in Venice and swimming in the sea, salt mines in Salzburg, Hitler's Eagle's Nest and Dachau concentration camp, the Berlin Wall, London's Big Ben and Parliament, Scotland's Loch Ness, Sweden's countryside, quick run-through museums. These are all threads of the fabric that make up memories of living in Germany with Dad and Mom. Mom and Dad promised us that if we did well in school and took our homework with us, we could go for a week and ski in the Alps. We did this, and when we weren't skiing or doing homework, we were ice skating. Remember the moonlight ride with the horses with you when we lived in Santa Maria and I was at Ernst Rigetti High School? At the time, you were the commander of Vandenberg Air Force Base tracking station and had much responsibility. But when it was dark outside and most everyone had gone to bed, I said, "How about let's get the horses and go for a moonlight ride?" And you said yes. That was very special, to be out on the trail near our home with the bright moon and the security of my dad with me. Before we moved to Berlin in 1970, we had to sell the horses. You loaded the 2 horses into the trailer. Before that, took Marilyn and I to the beach, and we rode across the dunes. You organized and orchestrated shots of us coming up out of the sand dunes and over the hill, surprising everyone, supposedly. You had as much fun watching us and taking movies as if you had been on the horses yourself. You liked to listen to me play the piano when I was home. You'd come in and sit down and go to sleep for a little bit, and when I'd finished, I'd look over, you'd wake up, and I could see a little tear there at the corner of your eye. Then followed the effusive compliments and comments. You told me how proud of me you were, how beautiful I could make the music sound. Then you'd say, especially the part where, and begin to hum it out of tune and wave your hands around. Whenever I was in a program, I could look out at the audience and see your shiny head and you sitting tall, so you wouldn't miss anything, and giving a standing ovation, with your mouth moving around funny and that little tear there, just like mine. That is one of the ways I will always think of you. I certainly feel loved, and that you are proud of me, and that I could do anything. I've realized more and more over the years how my own life has been affected by 2 sticks of gum. It really illustrates the point that we do not live our lives alone, but the decisions each of us makes and the way we live our lives influence many others. Because of your decisions, you went back to Berlin in 1974. No, why don't you turn it off right there?